Hey everybody, hey, welcome back to the 53206 cast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Meg.
And Meg.
Yeah.
This is a podcast. This is a
is.
podcast specifically designed to help the listener have a better understanding of what it is like to live in an area of concentrated poverty. Meg, you and I have lived in the poorest zip code in the state of Wisconsin for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last 20 years.
Give or take.
Give or take. And that's located in the 53206 zip code in the inner city of Milwaukee. Meg.
Yeah.
You ever hear of AI?
Yes, I've heard of AI. I have heard of it quite a bit, especially in the last 6 months.
Okay. So I you know, when I was little,
Mm-hmm.
younger, we never got a computer. We never got a computer until
You didn't.
like I might have been a senior in high school when we got a
Yeah,
computer.
I feel like you've told me that before. Because I got one when I was in first grade.
Yeah. I would say on the early adopter
Yes.
scale, I would say your dad in particular
Mm-hmm.
for technology,
Yeah,
computers, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's an early adopter.
Yeah.
And I don't think my parents would have any issue saying that they are not early adopters.
I feel like your dad had the same phone for...
Well, he had an iPhone 6 up until
my gosh.
up until like 4 or 5 months ago.
Wow, that's a great example. Yes.
I mean, it worked. It went on the internet. Well, it stopped working, I think.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, it worked just like it was supposed
Yeah,
to.
uh-huh.
And why do you need? And he's not. He's not really wrong. Like, you don't really need.
Yeah.
You don't. The I don't even know what number they're on now. You know how we used to get the new ones right away.
No, we never got the new ones right.
I feel like
We did
I feel
maybe
like there was
once.
okay. Well,
We used to know what the new ones were.
sure. So you know, I having been through that experience. So okay, so then you know we probably get this thing when I'm a senior in high school, and then we go. You know, I go off to college, and I'm going to school at the Milwaukee School of Engineering,
Mm-hmm.
which Meg, I don't know if you know, but it's like a lot of dorks that
Yep.
go there.
Yep.
And people, and you know, I'm not trying to be mean to anybody from the Milwaukee School. I went there, so, but I noticed that, but yeah, they loved being on their computer.
Okay.
They loved the computer.
And you got a computer, which was, right?
Yeah, and they
Which
just
is pretty
gave
cool.
you one,
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
cool. So that was like the first time I was ever able to really use. But I had no idea how to use
Could you type?
Yeah, I could.
Okay.
My mom had said take typing in high school.
Okay. We had to in high school.
Yeah, I don't know if I had to or not, but
Okay.
she said take it because then you'll know how to type. And I was like, oh yeah, actually, that probably makes sense.
I wish our kids would listen to. Our kids still aren't good typers.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna need to know how to type.
We'll
I don't
see.
know. I was texting, probably while driving. I shouldn't do that, but I
Yeah.
probably was. And I can text without looking at
Yeah.
it. Can you do
I'm
that
actually
too?
pretty good at that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I was surprised. And I was trying to type something very complicated, and I probably didn't get it perfect, but it
Yeah.
just kind of knew
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
was trying to do. So you know, so I would say that you know you, Meg, were on the again on the early adopter
Yeah.
side to that, and I was on the later end of that. And I always, I'm not mad about it, but I'm not mad about it.
I hope you're not.
But I do think my life might have been. I'm very happy with my life right now, so I'm glad that things turned out the way that it did. But I think that I probably would have used some of that computer knowledge to my advantage better as a younger person.
Sure.
And so now, this new technology comes out, AI,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, okay, I don't need to be like the first person doing it, but I probably don't want to be like the last one.
Well, and I feel like I had a really hard time because it's like environmentally, it's very impactful in a negative way.
Okay.
And so I think I had a very hard time being an early
At least
adopter.
it's plausible. It's plausible that it would be.
And I know now there's like all this, like, is it like what? I feel like I've listened to 2 podcasts that it's not bad for energy and it is bad for energy, and it's bad for water and it's not bad. I'm like, okay. But I think what, I was like in my line of work, being a web developer, I'm like, this thing's going to just take over for me unless I know anything about it. So I at least know how to use it. And I feel well versed in it.
All right. So I haven't spent a lot of time on it still. I know that all it would take for me to be on the early adopter side would be to be using it.
Yes.
Which reminds me, I should get your
GPT.
Yeah, I should get your password so I can mess around with it. But the thing that really interests me about AI and artificial intelligence, right? That's what it stands for.
Yes.
The thing that really interests me about it is, well, how would you use AI to help advance the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Because pretty much most of what I do, even if I'm renovating someone's basement in Wauwatosa. Well, I renovate someone's basement in Wauwatosa to make the money to pay for the material to work on the houses in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's all it all points back in that direction. It's always what's good for the neighborhood, right? So I have, Meg, I'm hoping that you have maybe some thoughts. I have a couple of thoughts of like, I wish it could do this. And it does, from when I hear people talk about artificial intelligence, they talk about it growing at an exponential rate.
Yeah.
And I used to be a math teacher, and so I know that's good.
Yeah.
Exponential means that you get big gains pretty fast, or your gains, from one year to the other are more each year. And so it wouldn't surprise me if at some point you could use this specific technology to make some recommendations for the ways that people are organizing themselves. And so, Meg, one of the things, and I'm hoping that you might have some interesting ideas. One of the things that I'm particularly interested in is, we talk about the concentration of poverty, and I really wonder. And it wouldn't surprise me if there was already a community that exists that has a concentration of poverty lower than ours, which means more affluent or more spread out, more diverse socioeconomically, that is actually doing very well. I don't know if it's in Sacramento or if it's in Indianapolis.
I don't know. Like, it sounds like what you just said is you're like people who are just really wealthy.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, let me clarify. So my big issue has always been that the concentration here is so high, and that if it's less concentrated, I'm not saying 100%.
Sure.
I'm not saying it goes from being the poorest to the richest.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that if it goes from being the poorest to the 8th poorest, 12th poorest, that there's some incremental step that would have to take place over a period of time, so that it isn't just flipped over and this now becomes Bayview is an up and coming area. Well, actually, it probably was an up and coming area 10, 20 years ago, and now it's beyond that.
River West is right to the east of us.
East of us, yep.
And that I feel like that's maybe a similar one where it used to be
one way, and now it's a different way, right? And so, I'm super interested in because I can like take all of this information and all this data and it can synthesize it and it can spit you out an answer in a sentence. I would really wonder, if at some point, to be able to know, okay, well, what concentration or what spectrum in terms of income ranges makes a neighborhood more stable. Yeah. Because there is some, right? But it doesn't have to be, pick a more affluent, pick a Brookfield, for example. Like, it doesn't have to be Brookfield. Yeah. But it probably shouldn't always be this.
Well, and that makes me think of, I feel like I was just listening to a podcast about, it's either 20% or 40% of people have to be like on board for there to be like a big change. Sure. Do you remember if it's 20 or 40?
I don't remember. That came from a Malcolm Gladwell book that we had.
Yeah. But like, not everybody has to be on board for there to be able to be a huge shift in change in mindset. Yeah. So I would think that it would be similar with our neighborhood, that you would just need a certain amount to kind of like stabilize the the disproportion of poverty.
Yeah. So like, for example, housing. The housing here is substandard.
Yeah.
For the most part. But, you and I, over the course of our time living here, and really in the last 10 years, we've provided stable housing at a rate that is higher than just our one building.
Yeah.
Right. And so, if you had, there's a number likely that, you've mentioned this woman on the podcast a couple of times in the last episodes that was looking for a place, and I hear that a lot. I'm looking for, I'm looking for an apartment. I'm not even necessarily looking to buy anything. I'm just looking for an apartment where I'm not going to get cheated, where stuff's going to work most of the time.
Yeah.
And if I call my landlord, they're not going to ignore my call, or they're not going to try to take my money and not give me what they said they would.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just someone that's going to treat you right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's in short supply. And so, but how many or how many opportunities does that need to exist so that it gets over the hump of the majority of people thinking that there are no places to the places are plentiful. The places are plentiful, then that means that the market's a little more highly saturated, and then the prices in theory could go down.
Yeah, and people just get treated kindly and nicely and
right.
decent.
And then you live in a place for a long time and you have stability, and then you are able to build your wealth independently because you're not moving constantly or you're not losing hundreds of dollars worth of food because your landlord won't give you a refrigerator, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it makes me wonder, if they're, because to do like just like the amount of hours it would take a university to do a study on something like that, and then it wouldn't shock me if at some point that that the artificial intelligence could tell us what the right concentration would be to keep an area from being gentrified.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the fears that people have about moving here is I don't want to contribute to gentrification.
Yeah.
Well, there is sort of like this Goldilocks period where you wouldn't be. You would actually be like possibly pretty helpful, or at least you would be not adding to the concentration and adding to the diversity.
Yeah.
But then, at some point, farther down the road, if it tips, then it gentrifies and it changes. So, did anything come to your mind
about like what I would ask AI to make? I think like what I have, to be honest, what I've tried to get more people on board with like thinking through like social justice stuff. I think a big barrier to our neighborhood is that people think so negatively about it.
And go ahead.
No, you can say something.
Well, this goes sort of back to what we were talking about in the last episode. Meg, I've probably read the Bible. I've read it at least twice.
Okay.
The whole thing. And the number one theme that I got out of the entire thing is that we got to take care of the poor people. Is that, people with means should help people that don't have means. And whatever that means. If you're healthy, help someone that's unhealthy. If you have money, help someone that doesn't have money. If you have 4 lawnmowers, help someone that doesn't have a lawnmower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all like you're just a conduit and a vessel to try to make life a little more palatable and a little more easier for
and
people.
We're all interconnected.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, that message that we should be doing that is thousands of years old, which makes me think that it's been thousands of years and we still need to be told that we should do that. And in fact, it's still so prevalent that people will say, I would never want to live there.
Yeah.
And when there is the poor neighborhood, it means that we still haven't learned that lesson. So I'm actually very interested in, did you find anything out?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Sorry. No, but I think if we can get people to understand that, and even this, like when I was having a talk with one of the people today at the We Got This Garden, I was saying how, how we moved in and, we thought one thing and we realized like there's just this big knot and it's just like under-resourced and all the people here are wonderful except for they don't, they didn't have the means I had when I was, I was born. That's like the only difference between me and the people who grew up here. And so I think like just this idea of that, this area is bad, I think that's what makes this area bad. And when we can change the perception and can have people see that, this area has wonderful people living here, that aren't given the same resources or you know, haven't been given the same life situations. And so therefore, yeah, they're choosing maybe not great. They're not choosing from great situations to start with. I think we could really get over the hurdle of, you know, people not coming into the inner city. And when people don't come into the inner city, they don't shop in the inner city. They don't spend their money in the inner city. They don't live in the inner city. They don't, you know, take their kids to the inner city. And it's just it's a ongoing cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you said shop, and we've noticed that, you know, we live right near Burleigh Street.
It's a corridor. The Burleigh corridor.
I know, but it doesn't really corridor to anything.
I know, it doesn't.
It just dead ends at the cemetery. Pun intended. That was a good dead ends. Okay. Very spooky. It's getting close to Halloween. But you're right. It is a corridor, which means really all that means is that some of those properties are zoned commercial, which means they're meant to be businesses and not have houses on them. And I'd be really interested, not because I want to make a bunch of money, but I think that you're right, Meg. Like, if there aren't businesses and people aren't spending their money at the businesses, then that takes away a job. And our economy is a very somebody explained it to me, and I'm not going to be able to explain what they explained to me, but like, jobs create jobs, which creates jobs, which creates jobs, which creates jobs. Like, if I give you $100 and then you go give Billy $100, and then Billy gives Sally $100, and Sally gives me $100, like, we've all just exchanged the same money just back and forth to one another. And, you know, if you can keep exchanging it, then like you get more stuff with that.
Yeah.
And that's how the economy is built.
Yeah.
And that's how it functions, right? And so because there isn't a business on the Burleigh corridor that's even, you know, besides like the liquor store or the corner store that caught on fire or whatever.
Yeah, I think those are the only two, other than the churches.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of churches.
Which
a lot of churches.
Fine, you can have churches there.
Yeah.
Or, I love a church's chicken. I'll tell you that much.
For real, yeah.
But
those biscuits, they're real
so
good.
But where I was going with that was like, you know, I wonder, like, I don't know a lot about a specific type of business, but I think that, you know, there is someone when I think about AI, I think about like, okay, well, if I had this like super smart person that could answer me this one question, and if my one question was what type of business would do well on the Burleigh corridor, you know, I do think maybe it probably actually could, you know, spit out someday, you know, something that makes sense. So like, let's say this isn't the example, but like, let's say I was interested in opening a laundromat there, and I was going to employ 2 people from the neighborhood to run the laundromat. And people currently have to take their stuff all over the place to have it washed. And, you know, would a laundromat do well in this specific area? I think that could be, and not just like me doing it, but like if the guy next door to us was like, I really want to run a laundromat. You know, could that be beneficial to the point where then he would be able to feel confident that that was a good financial move, you know, to start a business, to invest in the washers and dryers. And speaking of, I got to get a dryer, but that's a different story. But I think that, you know, there's a lot of individuals that will like just start throwing money at businesses. You know, I want to open up a restaurant, so I go open up a restaurant. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't.
Sure.
But you know, I know in our neighborhood, like, there's not a lot of margin a lot of times. And so if you don't feel at least mildly confident that it's going to work out, you're probably not going to do it, because it really, you know, if you and I, Meg, are going to spend X amount of dollars on something, and somebody else in the community is going to do the same thing, it may not impact us in the same way that it impacts somebody else. And so then they might be more hesitant to do it. So I could see some you know, some more of these small businesses created that would, you know, have add to the local economy, which would be great, because there really isn't much of a local economy. Oh, you got any other ideas?
No, I don't. I don't think I have any other ideas.
The only other thing that really interests me is, so when I think about our block, you know, sort of by just random, kind of random. You know, a house comes up for sale.
And I did think of another one just when you're done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
House comes up for sale. Okay. We live in our house and you renovate the one, you know, the first one we bought, and you know, then down the line, right? You know, our half of the block is noticeably different than the other half of the block, but not for long. The other half of the block is improving. Yeah, you know, and
there's some real good people over there. Like,
100% agree.
Yeah,
and so, you know, how does a block go from? I don't want to use the word bad, but like, how does a block go from standard inner city block, a lot of moving around?
Yeah.
Not a lot of transiency.
Yeah.
Not a lot of stability. How does it go from, because I would say our half of the block is stable. Right?
Yeah.
And stable you can build on.
And it's interesting you say that because some new people moved in to the corner house right by the garden. And it was one of the first times that, you know, I always get nervous when new people move in because you really don't know.
Sure.
You do not know if that person is going to be part of the Kia boys. You know, like you really don't know. And it is a little scary. And I feel like this is the first time that I thought, no, like this is going to be okay. And maybe it's just wishful thinking, but
I know when I'm trying to do something nefarious, I only will do something nefarious when I am not around people that will catch me doing it. Right? And so I
which was really funny because I was like, okay, don't judge. Is that car a Kia? You know, like, and like I was like, and it was right by the garden, and you know, this person, I've never seen this car around here, you know, and I, you know, just kind of, I feel like I am the nosy neighbor, and I was kind of looking at them, and I opened the gates to the garden, and they drive away. And so I feel like you're right. Like, I'm like, I don't know where that Kia went, but
it could just be somebody that owns a Kia.
It could be the it's fine.
The owner of the Kia.
Yeah.
But okay, so all right, so like, okay, so that, I believe that happened on our half of the block, and I believe that it was a certain number of buildings spread out enough to make that happen, coupled with, you know, other not just you and you and I didn't just do that, but like you know, you and I plus, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, 4 or 5 other neighbors that, you know, kind of keep the lid on things, and because we're super invested in our own space. And you know, any of the tenants that have been there, like if you've lived and rented the place for 6 years, like you're not really putting up with a bunch of bullshit that comes from somebody that just moved in. Because you're like, who are you? Like you're gonna, like, I'm gonna get you out of here if like, you're not gonna do what we do in this neighborhood.
And like they set the tone.
Right.
Like the tenants set the tone, and then they're like, hey, weird, you know, stop doing weird stuff. And they do.
So couldn't AI tell me which properties on a block are owner occupied?
Yeah.
Because that's stability.
Yeah.
Couldn't it tell me then, like, which ones which ones have like traded hands a lot? Because that to me means like White House on the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, it was owned for a long time, then somebody else bought it. Oh, where does that person live? Oh, California.
Yeah.
Oh, then it was sold to somebody in Seattle. Oh, and then then BlackRock bought it. Like, that's not stability.
Yeah.
That's just somebody trying to skim money off the building.
Yeah.
So okay, well, like if you could acquire that property and there's owner occupied or long term, you know, around it, like could you systematically add stability to a block to then stabilize that block? And then if you could do that block, could you do another block and another block and another block? And then all of a sudden you have a neighborhood that is seen as stable.
Yeah.
And you know, you couple in a couple of other things. Maybe you throw in some "we got this" stuff in there. You know, get the kids involved, get the kids into picking up the trash, do those kind of things, and then all of a sudden, boom! You look up, and now you have a stable community. And you know, could you take that then formula and then could you replicate it in other places?
Yeah.
And I think the computer could do that, or tell you like,
I don't know. Yeah.
I think it could tell you like, look over here, or like, this would be a good.
Okay. All right. My last one. And I feel like we should wrap up. My last one would be on education. Like,
yeah.
I mean, so a lot of the kids at We Got This, they go to North Division. North Division has what's their graduation rate?
Not good. I think it was in the book. I don't remember, but it's
I think it was like 66% graduation rate.
It's something like that.
And I think like just how do you improve the whole schooling system over here? Because it's, I know even talking with one of the teachers at the school right behind us, the teachers, they don't like, just there's never any subs. No sub ever wants to come.
Well, the sub pay is ridiculous.
Okay.
Like it's like $100 a day.
Oh.
To be a sub.
But so like I feel like that's one of the things. And
right.
like so just how do you have I think you've said that the best way to get people out of one of the ways to get people out of poverty is through education.
Sure.
Well, if they're receiving,
it's the fastest and easiest way. It just takes 18 years. Yeah.
If they're receiving a lower quality education,
sure.
and I don't say that because the teachers. I don't say that because I say that because the kids just don't value it. They don't like. You could definitely speak on this more, but how do you use education to get people out of poverty?
That's the question that you're asking?
Yeah.
At the end of the podcast.
No, that's the question I'm asking AI.
Oh, AI.
Yeah.
Well, I would throw this out there. So, I would throw this out there. So, somebody that has been around the block a lot. So you've been a teacher for a long time, or you're really like plugged in to these different programs outside of the school that help a kid develop job skills or help them to have a vision for what their life would be like 5 years after high school. Those kinds of things right now are really like based on the individual. So like the teacher or the guidance counselor or those types of things. And it wouldn't shock me if there's something that in the future that could help streamline that so that if you are the guidance counselor for the second year at one of these buildings, you have access to all of the resources that somebody with 30 years in the building would have. Yeah. And the wherewithal to know, okay, this kid is doing this.
Like, do they do stuff with the ACE score? The ACE score? Is that what it's called?
Sure. Yeah. And that, that would be part of it. Part of it also. ACE score is just, it's a bunch of questions that they ask you to see how at risk you are, essentially of not graduating high school.
Yeah.
But, it's just if you've had traumatic life experiences,
Yeah.
you're less likely to finish high school. And one traumatic event is, most people can manage that.
Yeah.
But when you got 7, it gets harder.
Yeah.
And, it takes a lot more. So, yeah, I mean, I could see something where, you took all of that and you used it as a communication tool so that your teachers knew, all right, well, little David's mom died from a drug overdose, and little David found his mom. Little David's probably not going to want to do math. However, little David's going to need to do math. So we should do this, and this.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, do this, and this.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, do this, and this. Yeah, I could see that being pretty helpful because what a lot of people don't realize, you're a teacher. You're just like a regular person.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, a lot of special people that become teachers, but like you're just a regular person. You're not like you're just a regular person that goes home and watches Netflix. Like it's not. You didn't really get trained to do any of that. You're just whatever. You know. And the kid doesn't see you that way. They see you as like this mythical figure that lives at the school. But but you're just going about your day like everybody else. And it's not like you have like this inherently innate ability to understand how the kid's traumatic past would affect their day-to-day classroom experience. So yeah, I can see that being semi-useful. So. We'll find out. Maybe it won't do any of that.
I know.
I don't know. Or maybe it'll just kill us all. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
too.
We'll see.
But yeah, Meg, I am not gonna promise anything, but I might ask it some questions and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
I do think some of the stuff that's more like data centric, like could you actually figure out how to deconcentrate or like stabilize a block and then stabilize another block? I think like you probably could.
If anybody has any info, please feel free to email us.
Yeah, I would love to think of, because I know like when you're talking to the artificial intelligence, it's all like about how you ask it questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to like think about how you could do that. Because Meg, there's, beyond, this podcast is going to be stupid someday because people, I would assume.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah,
I would hope that this podcast is very irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a neat goal to have.
Oh yeah. Well, Meg, it's entirely possible that it's entirely possible it's irrelevant right now. So, but I would love for it to be irrelevant someday because the general held belief on areas of concentrated poverty is that this is a place that we go to, not a place that we run away from.
Yeah.
This is it's got a big sign on it that says this is the poor community. We should go there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So
there's a whole corridor.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe the computer will say this would be good here.
Yeah.
And maybe it would actually be good.
Give us some. I feel like this is your homework.
All right, ask Chad and then see what. And
ask
then
Chad.
Ask Chad and then email Meg and then she'll synthesize it down and then.
Just FYI, we call him Chad. So Chad is our Chat GPT.
Yeah, that's what Chat.
Yeah.
Chat GPT. Okay.
Right? Yeah.
It's something. Like that.
I feel like we've changed it around because of various things, making fun of our niece.
Oh yeah. Well, that's always fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.